Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing well and that whenever and wherever you are on the planet today, that you are taking note of the insights that come to you as you go about your day. If you see a color that is particularly favorable to you, and you kind of have like your heart kind of leaps out at that color for a moment, like, oh, and then you run into that color again, maybe it means something. Maybe it's the next color that you should paint your living room or your bedroom, or maybe you should make a piece of art with that color, or maybe it's a color you should buy in the form of a t-shirt or a blouse or something. I've noticed that colors that speak to me help me increase whatever I need in that area. For example, blues, turquoises, light blues kind of help me feel comfortable having my voice out there. Like when I do my show, I'm sitting on my bed where I have a turquoise blanket, for example. Green is a color of healing in any color of green, except for like a murky, ugly-ish, sickly moss green. You know, some moss greens are beautiful, but like an ugly bog green sometimes can mean sickness, so you want to stay away from that. But anyway, if there's something that attracts you, such as a number, or say you're driving and you see a street that you have never been down and you feel a pull, that's an insight. Go and see what's down there. You might find something that you didn't know existed. So pay attention to the insights and the spiritual confirmations, those little affirmation energies that come your way. You know, if you start to talk to somebody and you feel a pull towards them, maybe they have some information that's meant to help you. Just like in the Celestine prophecy, if you see someone from across a room and you don't know who they are, like they're not familiar to you, but they look into your eyes for a few minutes and you just can't pull away, and it's kind of like an energy drawing you near them, maybe you have information to give them, maybe they have information to give you. So it's really important to follow your hunches, your intuitions, and your insights. So that's my thought of the day. I told you at the end of yesterday's show that I was going to tell you something cool about a prediction that I believe it was Prime Creator came through and said a while back, like maybe a month or two ago, about Bitcoin. And in that episode, Bitcoin was around between $10,000 and $12,000 for one Bitcoin. And I had gotten an energy about that. And I think it was in the financial episode of Pendulum Dowsing. I think that was the topic, was financial stuff. And I was channeling Prime Creator during that episode. And one of the things that, and I had forgotten, honestly, and somebody had written to me and said, you know, it's going to go down to 7,800. Well, while I was sick, and I didn't really notice it because I was sick, 5 days, Bitcoin was hovering around 7,800, exactly as Prime Creator had said it. So I thought that was really cool, because even though I know when I'm channeling someone that it's not, the information isn't coming from me. There's still that kind of a, well, is it though? Is it maybe my subconscious mind? Is it really, and my conscious mind expected during September for Bitcoin to be in the range of 20,000. And I was expecting that it would be closer to 100,000 by the end of next year. And I wasn't really expecting it to go way down again. And yet it did. And you could buy, if you want to invest in this, it does go up. And especially since it's hovering around 8,100 right now, it will go up. And, you could just buy a fraction of it. You don't have to buy a whole one. Like localbitcoins.com, you could buy a little bit, and then when it goes up, you sell it for a little bit more, and then, you could buy it when it goes back low, and just, you could kind of play a cat and mouse game with it, like batting around a balloon with your paws, and you could build a little bit of a nest egg just doing that, but, because you always sell it for like 1,000 more than what it's going for. So you buy low, you wait a week, you sell higher than what you bought it for, and it just kind of goes back and forth. It's kind of a pain, but it's one quick way to make a couple extra $100 here and there. But yeah, someone had pointed that out, and they didn't believe it. She said I wasn't. There was no way Bitcoin was going to go that low. She just didn't think it, and I didn't either. When I came out of that trance and finished that episode, I'm like, wow. I hope that whatever I said was right, but I was still kind of like, well, I expected it to be double in price instead of a lot less, like a third less. So I don't know. I do trust Prime Creator's insights, and I do believe I am channeling him as well as other beings of light. And some of the stuff that comes through, like last night, I had no idea. Not last night, the night before with Michael Shearhan of Ashtar Command, I had no idea that I was going to be given like a mantra that helps us to balance our spiritual energies. But there you go, it happened. So I'm going to show you, or tell you, can't really show you, but I'm going to tell you another weird thing that came to me after I ended the show with Michael Shearhan. He gave me an amazing healing idea. And so I wrote it down, and I wanted to read it to you. Now, I want you to remember that Plu-Ra-Sa, that's the Pleiadian mantra for achieving balance, and anything in your life in which you need balance, go ahead and try to say that, chant it for a while, but while also maintaining an energy of blues and greens in your energy field. So we live on a blue-green planet. It's not hard to go outside and find in nature blue and green. Tops of trees are green and the sky is blue. You can work with those particular colors, or, maybe your own. Make your own piece of art or something, because that will also bring that energy of balance. I'm going to start working with this mantra, and I'm going to start painting it into my art as another form of balance and healing. So I'm still thinking I might want to have my own little art shop where I paint furniture that is healing for people. So whatever, I was thinking today, even actually, I would probably categorize it like, here's the third eye section. If you want to have more clairvoyance, that's the energy of that. Here's the healing section. Here's I was really thinking about having like a healing shop, and I don't know. Have you guys ever seen The Good Witch and her shop? I was thinking about having something similar to that, but with art more, more than anything. But all right, so there is a healing way that Michael Shearhan told me via balancing yourself, your body, when an illness surfaces. So I was thinking about being sick, and I'm like, can I use Plua Rasa for healing my body and achieving more of a balance again? And Michael told me that when an illness surfaces, you have to pay attention to the pattern in which it surfaced. Like trace back in your mind all the things that happened. And remember, when I did I expressed to you guys how my illness came about, because it was really weird. Like my right eye got red, then my left ear got red, and then the next day my gums got red, and then the next day my lungs were really bad. And I was just like, what the hell? Like it was like ping ponging from the top to the bottom of my body, right? So this is what he said, is if you keep that mantra, Plua Rasa, in your swirly blue and green energy, and you fill your energy field up with it, then what you do is you follow the pattern of how it started, and then trace it in its opposite on the opposite side of your body. So instead of right eye, left ear, gums, lungs, in my case, he said, then you start from your heart and lungs first, and you pull the energy from your heart chakra and your throat chakra, that blue and green, and you go from your lungs and you pull the energy up to your gums. If you're me, so you trace it back from lungs to gums, then to the right ear instead of the left, and then to the left eye instead of the right. And you use the green healing energy from your heart chakra, not the blue, sorry, just the green healing from the heart chakra. He says this will start right away to sway back your balance back into the light of health. So say you're having an earache in your left ear, then just put that green energy in your right ear, and it will pull that energy. It seems a little bit opposite of what you would imagine, but when he told me that, it's when I started to get better. And I'm not 100% better. I'm feeling a little weak today. I think because I was up all night. I had this issue with my phone not charging. It was so weird. Like today, my phone, again, I don't know what's going on. Today it was like at 100%. I only talked on WhatsApp for a few minutes, and then it was down to 49%. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, it wasn't like 6 hours I was on the phone. It was like just a few minutes. Then I plugged it in, and after 2 hours, it was back up to like 70 something. And there's other times I plug it in, and it's just 100% in an hour. But I was honestly watching Casa de las Flores, the House of the Flowers. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this show, but it's really good, and it's hilarious, and it takes on a lot of new, it's not really new ideas, but it takes a lot of, I guess you could say, controversial ideas when you think in a traditional way. So it's like the matriarch of a family is like putting out fires left and right, emotionally and psychologically. It's just only really distressing to her. But one daughter married a man who became transgender, a transgender woman, and so she decided to still be in the relationship with her. And, that was like one thing that was, the mother was like trying to cover it up because she doesn't want her neighbors to know, it's just, she has that traditional, like, let's keep everything cisgendered, right? And then her husband had been having an affair, and you find that out in the very first few minutes. And that person killed herself in the flower shop, which was the pride and joy of the whole family. It's just insane. But the second season just came out, and it's a really good show, so I'm watching it. It's one of those binge-worthy shows, though. You just, you binge it in 2 or 3 days, then you wait for another year for the rest to come out, pretty much. But the artwork is so incredible in the beginning of it, and the second season artwork is absolutely in conjunction with what these characters are like, what their personalities are like, the things that they represent. Like, there's like tentacles wrapping around this guy who everyone thinks is evil, for example. So we don't know the truth, but we think that maybe he is, but we still don't really know. We still like him, but we're like, I don't know. Like, did he really do the right thing? Did he not do the right thing? We'll find out. But anyway, the show is really good, and I started looking at the show descriptions, because in the first episode of the second season, you find out something that's rather shocking. So I was like, did I miss something? I don't know. So I went back to the first season, reading the descriptions, and there was no indication that had happened. So I feel like it's going to be a flashback scenario will be coming up, and we're going to find out about these things. But I'm not going to say, because I don't want to be a spoiler, but as I was reading the descriptions of the episodes, I realized that every episode is named after a flower, and then there's a parentheses. It says symbolizes this. For example, rose symbolizes love, right? For example. So I realized that every single episode is named after a flower, and every single episode has a theme, and it's in conjunction or tied to the flower. It's like so clever. And I thought, you know what? People have forgotten, for the most part, that there are meanings to flowers from the Victorian era. And people used to send secret messages through flowers when they could not, in polite society, say what they were really thinking. They would send flowers, right, back and forth. And so I'm going to go over tonight. Tonight's episode is about what flowers mean what color of roses mean what. And there might be some shocking insights for you guys. I'm going to try to get through as many flowers as possible. And I mean, can you imagine if you have like a list of this handy, and your friend had a list of these handy? You could have this otherworldly kind of communication, sending each other flowers of different kinds without having to say anything. I mean, how cool would that be? It'd be like sending secret code back and forth. You'd be flower spies. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. So that's what we're going to do tonight for the show. But first, I have some duende news from my house, or apartment, if you will. It looks like the duende was at it again. My son insists that he gave back my lighter, because I use a lighter to light the stove. Everything here is gas, and I also use it to light my incense and, well, my weed, obviously, and my candles. So I'm like, don't take my lighter and not give it back, right? And he's like, okay, well, I swear he gave it back, and then he borrowed it again, but he says, no, I didn't borrow it again. And I'm like, I'm sure he did, and he's sure he did, and he's like, no, I gave it back, though. I'm like, all right. So we're sitting here thinking about it, and he goes, you know what, I think the duende took it, because that's something that they do. So the mystery's out on that still, but if I find it in a really weird place, like under the bed, or, somewhere where we're not normally, like in the third bedroom, or, in the fourth kitchen drawer down or something, then I'm going to tell you guys, because that means you know who has made off with my lighter. It's a really, really beautiful cobalt blue color. So he tends to like blue and green, which ironically, that's the colors we've been working with this week. But my piece of jewelry that he tied because he knew I was going to wear it and he didn't want me to take it out of the house was kind of, it's kind of like a moonstone style stone. It's only found in Peru. And it's got an ethereal blue quality to it, and it's in a necklace made of this resin, sort of not resin, I want to say green string, but there's more to sinew is what it is, and it's dyed a dark green. So the necklace itself is blue and green, and here my lighter was blue, and I think he made off with that. I think it's something he likes. In fact, the tea bag that he the string of the tea bag I was putting in and as I was dropping it down into the tea, and it went into a knot out of nowhere. Like, how the hell did you do that? That's some crazy stuff right there, right? But the label to that was also green. So I think he likes blue and green things. I'm going to have to figure out something. Maybe give him a gift or an offering of blue and green, something he'll feel happy with. But, so there was that. And then, what was the other thing, that he did? Oh yeah. In the middle of the night, he opened the window where he was at in my son's room. He opened the window right next to where he was at. And my son's like, do you think the aliens would open up my bedroom window? Because that was weird. I did not specifically open my bedroom window. I woke up and my window was open. And no, it's not aliens. They could phase in and out and go through walls. They don't need to open a window. And I've been abducted my whole life, and never has a window been opened and left open, or a door or anything. So no, absolutely not. And he says, okay, because that means the duende now is starting to open my window in the middle of the night. And I'm like, well, last night when I was cooking, a little bit of oil got on the bottom of the oven, and so made it a little bit smoky in here. And we opened the windows, and I said, do you remember that? He's like, yeah, I remember opening the windows in the living room. And I went in my room and shut the door and absolutely did not open my window because it was cold out. I'm like, all right, that's weird, right? Like the one time. And I said, I think we need to open all the windows. Well, guess who probably heard me? He's helping us by opening the window. How totally adorable, right? Well, I know where to get another duende, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go get one for me, and because that's my son's duende. I wonder if they'll get along together, or maybe they'll just double the mischief in the house. I don't know, but they're so cute. I don't know if I should take a picture of him or not. I don't know if that would offend him or not, but I actually do have pictures of duendes from Quito, so maybe I'll put that in my Instagram feed at some point. I'll let you guys know once I get that done, because they're like little elves, and they have little staffs, and they have their own little personalities, and they have different colored clothing. You charge them up in the moonlight, and they've got gemstones for eyes, and that holds their energy to that like doll that's been created. And when they get charged in the moonlight, they get really active, and I can't believe it. This is the first time we remembered, oh yeah, it's midnight. Midnight, full moon, now it's time to charge the duende. It's the first time we did it, like on time and everything, and oh my gosh, he's so active. It's like, oh, it's kind of neat to be able to touch the other world like that. So another thing that my friend Rainey pointed out to me today is that she finds it very endearing, because I did grow up in Minnesota from the age of 12 through 18. So basically, there's a habit that I have, and I've been like this ever since I lived in Minnesota, is if I'm talking to somebody or doing my show, and I say, well, I'm going to go now, or that's all I got to say about that, and then I continue to talk for a few more minutes, and then I'll sign off. That apparently, I never noticed that before, that is the way that people from Minnesota say goodbye, because we don't really want to say goodbye. That we love the person we're talking to, and we'll say goodbye, but then we kind of linger a little bit more, because we just really don't honestly want to leave. We don't want to part ways or say goodbye. And Rainey said, oh, you're in Minnesota, and that's why you do that. That's something that we all do when we're from Minnesota, because it's just, we don't want to part ways. And it's so cute. I mean, she said it's so endearing, and I'm like, oh. So that was a fun and cool insight that came to me today about my weird habit of not being able to say bye and then leave. And it's funny because my son's always like, Mom, why do you start up a conversation when I'm getting ready to leave? And it's like, I don't know. And I knew when he said that, I'm like, it's because I just, even if you go for the day or for an hour, I'm going to miss you. It's just the way it is. And, some cultures are so intense with their friendships that, like, for example, my friends from Saudi Arabia, they just, they have to have every meal together, every night, at least every dinner they have together. Like, all the guys come over and they say, the only reason you wouldn't be here for dinner every single night with us is because you've decided not to be our friend anymore, or that you have passed away. Like, if you've died, that's the only way. So I didn't know this. And, I had a couple dinners with the neighbors. And then one night at like 11:30, I get a call. And my friend Jihad, he says, Alina, we've been waiting for you. The boys are getting angry. How come you're not here? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're not here for dinner. We don't understand why you're not here. I'm like, well, you didn't invite me. He says, I don't have to invite you. You're my friend. We have to eat together every day. I'm like, oh, well, no one explained that to me. I had no idea. So I get there to an angry house full of men. He calls them boys because he was older than them, ranging in age from 19 to 29. And they're all sitting around in a circle on the sheet on the floor with this giant thing of food. And they were really mad. And he says, no, Alina eats first. And he served himself, he served me, and then everyone could have food. It was like so crazy. I was like, whoa. And they were so mad at me, like, and they started complaining in Arabic, like, why does she get to eat first? Why, and I felt the energy of what they were saying. And Jihad just started yelling at them, la, 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 which means no, 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 no. Which I'm sure during Christmas season, when they hear fa la 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 la, la 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 la, that song probably is a little confusing. No, 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 no. But I don't know. I thought that was funny. There are some cultures that the friendships are so close that you have to spend time every day. And I was spending between 8 and 12 hours a day with him every single day for like a year. So I learned a great deal about the Saudi culture, at least in the Shia life, because they all the men that I knew they came from a section of Saudi Arabia where they were not Sunni Muslim, they were Shia Muslims. So I learned their tradition and ways, and it was very insightful and it was lovely. But I do notice that wherever you are, you're going to have different things about you. And I know that I miss people a lot, especially since so many people in my life have died at very young ages. Ever since I was young, and like for 30 years, people have been dying around me. And I think it's just one of those things that I planned to go through a lot of deaths of people that I was close to. So I always have that. I'm going to go, oh, but I have to talk about something else. Oh, and it's not that I really have to talk about anything. Sometimes it's just that I really love the people that I'm around and the people I'm working with. And I'm generally not very sociable, but the people that I love, I really love. So like my new friend, Nikolai, he and I are talking every single day. 2 or 3 different times every single day for like 3 weeks, and it just seems normal to me. It feels like, oh, good. So like I wake up, oh, did he write me today? Cool. All right. I want to make sure he's good. Anyway, so there's that. That was a fun insight to have. The other thing is, Nikolai told me today that he was very, very tired. He's an empath like most of us are. And most of you guys that listen to this are empaths from what you've told me. A lot of people have contacted me and said, thank you, because I'm also a Heyoka, or I'm also an empath. I'm also a light worker. So I don't know if you guys have experienced this today, but I was very sleepy and very tired today. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just not getting enough rest to recover from the illness I just had. And then Nikolai, who does not have the same illness, he's not even sick, he said today was a weird day. He's like, I got out of bed late and I woke up and I had no energy and I felt really low. And he said he thought it was something happened out in the streets energetically that affected him, because he's very sensitive to energy all around him. And so he said that he did some things to clear the energy in the space in his house, and he lit incense and meditated and used energetic healing to heal the space. But he still had to go to bed early tonight, and I feel the same way. This is why I'm doing the show here, like before 9 o'clock at night in my time, which is not even normal for me to want to do the show so early, but I feel like I'm going to do this and then go to bed early, hopefully sleep 12 or however many hours, and then I'm going to be able to have more energy tomorrow. Also, because I want to go try and visit Nikolai tomorrow if I can, or the next day, I don't know. I have a lot of crap to do, so anyway, tomorrow, so I'm like, all right, we'll get it done. But anyway, I wonder if you guys aren't feeling it. I've heard a couple light workers say that we're going to get a lot of energy bombarding us again, coming our way from the cosmos. So if you were by any chance extra tired or lethargic or unable to think or having mental fogginess, lack of clarity, if you're having tinnitus in your ears or weird buzzing sensations in different forms and parts of your body, it might just be cosmic energy, more, even though we're already anchored into the fifth dimension, we're still going to be getting the ascension waves of light and energy our way, because not everyone is awake yet. People are still waking up and coming to, if you will. So there was a discussion going on here in Cuenca High Life, which is a newspaper for gringos here in Cuenca, Ecuador, where we're talking about the stuff that's going on around us and what we need to know or whatever. So we kind of exchange information. It's kind of a secondary level of help. For me, the first level of help is what I get from, the United States government when they're saying, hey, this is coming down the pike. You're going to have 2 weeks worth of food at all times, they say, because you never know when something can break out. So you just have to have stored food. So I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna do something about that. But this woman is like so angry that she doesn't have propane. And so it's still happening in some places where people just don't have a way to cook, even though the troubled times have been over for like a while now, several days. There's still people without propane. They cannot sell propane fast enough, like as people want it and need it. And now people are buying double or triple the amount that they had before. And they're price gouging, like a big canister full of propane before the troubles were $60. Now it's $73. And so people are complaining about that. So we're still having a little bit of issues, but this lady is like, it's the greedy president. He had to go ahead and get billions from the IMF, and it's all his fault. And I'm like, no, not really. I mean, gaining, even though it might be like dancing with the devil, gain a loan because we're $64 billion in debt doesn't really signify greed to me, especially since this guy doesn't even want to be president next year. He's not seeking for anything. It has nothing to do with greed. And the fact that he got the loan, he got the loan. The fact that he released subsidies for a while, that's what prompted all of the riots and the protesting. The indigenous people believed him when he said he wasn't going to do any fiscal changes for the people, and then he did, and they felt like he went back on his word, and they thought he had no integrity, and they were holding him to his integrity by creating the riots. That's what I found out. So, all right. And plus the fact that the subsidies are symbolic, and people put a lot more stock into symbols than they do money. When something is symbolic, it's like a covenant between the government. It becomes like super after 40 years. It's like a covenant, So what created the riots wasn't a president's greed when A, he wasn't greedy, B, he was trying to balance the budget because he had to get a loan. And, in this person was really angry and like, what would this government do if there had been an actual emergency? I'm like, I think all the roads being closed to every city, which stopped the supplies of food and clean drinking water and propane to every resident of every city throughout an entire country, I think that is an emergency. And she's like, well, I meant a natural emergency. I'm like, you mean like an earthquake? Because that's not going to prompt indigenous people to block all the roads. If anything, they would be helping people to get supplies in that kind of a situation, because that's when we're all at mercy of nature. And I don't think this person's thinking clearly, because she's angry because she hasn't been able to cook or take a hot shower in over a week, which I can understand. So I was sending her love and light today, even though she's being nasty to everybody and criticizing the government and everything outside of herself. She's blaming, it's not her fault, but like other people are able to get propane because they made the phone call, and they made the phone call early as soon as the shipment started to arrive. So other people are like, well, I got mine. This is the number I called, or this is the man I went through. And someone else says, well, look on OLX, which is an exchange for people to buy whatever. You could sell a house or a watch or anything in between on OLX. You just get anything you need, used truck, or you could even we even found someone to clean the house a few months back when we were like super busy and the house got messy, and we're like, well, let's just hire someone. But she charged too much money, and I'm like, I can't afford that every week. So it was like $10 an hour. My son arranged it, and I'm like, it's not worth it. It was definitely worth it. But then she cleaned the whole house, and then she dirtied like 5 or 6 pots and pans, which I needed cleaned to make dinner that night. And she made a bunch of food that I would not have made. Like, she made like lentils and beans or something and rice. And I'm like, that's not how I eat. That's how my son ate. But then I couldn't even cook for days because of it. It was just ridiculous. And then she cost me an extra 2 hours cleaning up after her cleaning. After her cooking. I'm like, that's like ridiculous, but I was asleep. My son arranged it early in the morning, and I woke up, the house was clean. Surprise. Oh, it was so sweet. It was very sweet, but I was like, it was just too much of a for me. I don't know. I'm too Virgo for that. I don't like when people come into my house and assume I eat a certain way and then just makes food for me. It bothers me. I just feel like maybe you should ask first, and I don't know. That's just another cultural thing that sometimes bugs me. Like, it was sweet. Thank you for making a vat of rice that even if I ate a cup of rice every day for 14 days, I could have rice, right? It's like, to me, way the hell too much rice. Why do people eat so much? It's carbs. Why are you doing that? It's irritating to me. It's like, I don't know, make a whole bunch of vegetables. That's how I eat more, And I've always been like, ooh, the whole rice lentil thing. Yeah, okay. It's just not me. It's just, that was something that I ate when I was a vegetarian, and I gained 36 pounds just trying to be a good vegetarian over the course of 9 years. I didn't get healthier. I got less healthy. I gained weight. I felt more lethargic. It was awful. It was just weird that, like, but when you're a vegetarian and you're not meant to be because of your genetics, you get like craving the carbs, like beans and rice. That's a perfect protein. Okay. No, it's not really perfect when you're gaining weight and becoming unhealthy. I actually got more unhealthy being a vegetarian. Very weird, right? Probably the thing that kept me alive was eating cheese at that time, because I wasn't eating meat. I wasn't a vegan, and that would have probably killed me for sure. But now that I'm eating meat, I have a much more healthy balance. I'm eating a lot more vegetables. I eat like 75% vegetables and then 25% meat or fish. Lately, it's been a lot of fish, like seafood and locally caught fish, although I don't like it. I just want to be healthy. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. Schumann Resonance today from disclosurenews.it. Let me see. I've got a... Oh, okay. Yeah, here they did it again. I'm like, how am I not on the right They do. It's like they keep putting like the same date from the day before. All right, here we go. I'm like looking at this going, well, this is from yesterday. No, wait a minute. It's not. So I don't know what's going on in Italy, but their Schumann Resonance was only like 8. It says today's amplitude graph, we could see a very slight, constantly increasing variation that began on the night between the 20th and 21st of October. It seems sort of increasing as a vibration. As it's an amplitude, it could be compared to an ohm from which nothing increases, little by little, but constantly. Now we're around power 8. We haven't been at that level for a very long time. So what is going on over there, I don't know. It looks like there was more spikes than what they're saying, and there was a little tiny gap of just a blackness for about a half hour where they couldn't get any signals. So at least that's getting better, but yet why is it so low? I don't get that. I don't understand. But when I go to Heart Math Institute, of course, the numbers are quite a bit bigger. Holy moly, really big. Like that, it went way up. All right. Okay, I can tell you. Let me tell you. In California, here we go again. 111 at midnight was the Schumann Resonance, the Schumann, the Hertz frequency. So 111. Another master number, went up to 117 by 4 a.m. In Hafuf, Saudi Arabia, they were at 121 at midnight. They went up to 130 by 4 a.m. Now, looking at this chart, everything increased. So it's weird that what's going on in Italy. Are they back in the third dimension over there? What is happening? It's so weird. So maybe everyone's going to calm down again and we'll be fine because we're at a higher octave, right? I don't know. In Lithuania, they start off at 140 hertz frequency, went up to 149 by 4 a.m. In Alberta, Canada, this is the big one now. They started off at 261 hertz frequency, and by 4 a.m., they were at 279 hertz frequency. I'm looking forward to seeing where all this goes tomorrow. Northland, New Zealand started off at 87. That was the only one not in triple digits. They went to 92 by 4 a.m. I bet they'll be in the triple digits tomorrow. In Hulului, South Africa, they started off at 139 hertz frequency, and they went up to 148 hertz frequency by 4 a.m. So there you have it. In A Course in Miracles, we were on lesson 134, and this is the main thought of the day. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. The first paragraph of this lesson says, let us review the meaning of forgive, for it is apt to be distorted and to be perceived as something that entails an unfair sacrifice of righteous wrath, a gift unjustified and undeserved, and a complete denial of the truth. In such a view, forgiveness must be seen as mere eccentric folly, and this course appeared to rest salvation on a whim. The twisted view of what forgiveness means is easily corrected when you can accept the fact that pardon is not asked for what is true. It must be limited to what is false. It is irrelevant to everything except illusions. Truth is God's creation, and to pardon that is meaningless. All truth belongs to Him. His laws are reflected and radiates His love. So basically, truth radiates the love of God. Does this need pardon? How can you forgive the sinless and eternal benign? So if you want to read the rest of this lesson, it's at acim.org, or you could go download your own app of this. It's pretty awesome. One thing you can ask God is, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Or, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Would I accuse myself of doing this? I will not lay this chain upon myself. And this is something that is mentioned in everything that you do. Remember this. No one is crucified alone, and yet no one can enter heaven by himself. It's a very interesting thought, huh? Let's see. I'm trying to find another paragraph here. It is sin's unreality that makes forgiveness natural and wholly sane, a deep relief to those who offer it, a quiet blessing where it's received. It does not countenance illusions, but collects them lightly with a little laugh, and lays gently them at the feet of truth. And then that is where they disappear entirely. Yeah, sins, all of it, all of the negativity, it's just, none of it's real. None of it's really real. So, there you have it. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to go over the meanings of flowers. Why shouldn't you send yellow roses to your lover? And why wouldn't you send them to a funeral? Weird, right? We're going to discuss this mystery and many others about, well, what are the meanings of flowers right after these messages. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. It could be said that flowers are the highest vibrational plant around. They are symbolic and meaningful. When someone hands you a flower or a bouquet of flowers, it can cheer you up, uplift your spirits. It can bring a great deal of love in your heart. But did you know that flowers have meanings, specific meanings? You can use them as a way of sending a secret code, a secret language. There's a secret hidden meaning to specific flowers. Well, I looked at the irishtimes.com and they said, well, if you're going to send your sweetheart something on Valentine's Day or just in general and you're in love with them, you have to make sure that you're going to avoid committing an embarrassing faux pas or romantic blunder. And they say, let me have a quiet word in your ear regarding the sort of discreet message you might inadvertently be giving with your choice of flowers. Okay, they didn't say that in that accent, but it's my really crappy Irish accent. I wish I had an Irish accent. It's one of my most favorite accents in the world. What they say is, whatever you do, don't send yellow roses. Because yellow roses signify jealousy, infidelity, and the decline of love. You don't ever send yellow roses to your lover or your wife or your husband or your boyfriend. Anyone that you're romantic and intimate and sexual with, stay away from the yellow roses. If you send your loved one mint, like mint green, or maybe, mint green roses, or literally mint, like peppermint or spearmint plants, that means madness. And I don't mean anger, I mean batshit crazy energy. You don't send them that in a bouquet. You never send striped carnations because that is a sign that the love they feel for you is not mutual on your behalf. Obviously, red roses do mean I love you, but it can be a little boring since everyone knows that already. But check it out. You could still send them red roses if you want to let them know that you love them. But guess what? What if you send them roses, red roses, and they send you one single withered bloom? According to Irish Times, that's an unambiguous botanical slap in the face. But they said if you send a single rose leaf, that does give a signal of hope. I thought that was very interesting. This is all in a book called Discovering the Meaning of Flowers that was written by Shane Connolly. He is a high society floral designer, and he designs floral arrangements for the British royal family, even though he is from Connolly, and that is in Northern Ireland. He is an Irish person. He did the flowers for Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding. So he might know a thing or two about what to send your sweetheart, right? But what I'm going to show you, what I'm going to tell you guys is the meanings of flowers for all different situations. According to theflowerexpert.com, it says that there are certain flowers that befit specific occasions, and that flowers are, for the most part, an integral part of our lives. Some flowers have religious significance, and most people, they believe, are unaware of the flower meanings. Everybody knows that red roses mean romantic love. But it says here that you should not send yellow roses to anyone in mourning. Is that because they symbolize infidelity? The person receiving yellow roses during a funeral might take it the wrong way, especially if the person in the casket was someone they were married to. It's pretty crazy, right? says many people don't consider flower meanings before they gift flowers to someone. And also people who receive flowers might not know what they mean. They might miss an underlying message. So we're going to go over tonight. You might want to get out your notebooks, make a list. Then maybe we could someday send each other flowers with hidden meanings. You look at your handy dandy decoder notebook, flower notebook, and see what they mean. Now, I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Alstroemeria. I guess that was it. Alstromerias. Now, I have received these. My mother gave me some of these in an arrangement once. It is a symbol of wealth, prosperity, and fortune. And it is a flower of friendship. That's pretty cool. Have you ever received amaryllis? This is a flower that is symbolic of splendid beauty. It's used to indicate worth beyond beauty. Amaryllis. Anemones, these are purple. Now, the first two I mentioned, alstromerias, they're little wispy little flowers, and they're pink, 2 shades of pink with yellow in the center. And amaryllis is, I think that comes in different colors, but they are popular in red, and that's splendid beauty. Anemones are purple and compact on long, tall stems. It says, anemones on a darker note indicates fading hope and have a feeling of having been forsaken. But on a positive note, it does or can symbolize anticipation of something. Anthurium, those are the big red heart-shaped leaves with a long, rather phallic center that sticks out, that's yellow. But anthurium symbolizes hospitality, and it's used to indicate happiness and abundance. Asters symbolize patience. Asters are kind of a round, puffy flower. They can be like a dark pink or red. And asters indicate a love of variety. It also symbolizes elegance and daintiness. So patience, a love of variety, elegance, and daintiness. I don't want to receive that from a lover. Maybe it means they want a variety of lovers, I think. Maybe I should be patient with him because he likes a variety of people. I don't think I like that one. It's a pretty flower. I might buy it for myself, but I don't want to receive that one in a bouquet, that's for sure. Birds of paradise. We used to have these in our yard. Massive bushes of birds of paradise. And they look like a bird with a crown on its head. And the crown is bright, fiery orange. It almost looks like fire. The bird of paradise flower symbolizes joyfulness. It can also symbolize magnificence. It can be used to indicate exciting and wonderful anticipation. So yes, please, if I was going to receive that from someone I'm involved with, bird of paradise, that's a good one. A Bouvardia or Bouvardia double. I've never even heard of this flower. It says that it symbolizes enthusiasm and a zest for life. And that's an interesting one. I've never heard of that. Now, calla lilies symbolize magnificence and beauty. And white calla lilies combine these two attributes with purity and innocence. Associated with the color white to make it the perfect choice of flower for a wedding bouquet. So magnificence, beauty, purity, and innocence. Now, I love calla lilies. I love lilies. I always have. But I wanted to carry them on my first wedding. And my mother-in-law to be said, oh, no, never white lilies. That's what you send to funerals. And I found out that many people look at lilies as being pure innocence, purity and innocence, and that symbolizes the soul after it's left the body and it goes back to heaven, where it again regains its innocence and your magnificence and beauty, don't forget. So some people agree that wedding bouquets should include kala lilies, while other people agree that they should not. Now, remember that kala lilies are in the Magician card and several cards in the tarot. They do symbolize purity and innocence. They symbolize the higher vibrational energies coming from the soul. Whereas roses symbolize, red roses specifically symbolize desire and the things we wish to manifest on earth, where the lilies symbolize your higher power and where you come from. So it could go either way with that. For a funeral or a wedding, it can equally, depending on your own personal viewpoint, they can be equally effective in what you want to basically showcase through your hidden flower meanings. Now, carnations symbolize beauty and pride. A red carnation symbolizes love, pride, and admiration. Now, my mother, carnations were her favorite flower of all time. My adopted mom, she loved carnations. So she wasn't thrilled with roses. And what was weird is my birth mother also did not like roses. So strange. She just felt like roses were so cliche. And her husband, every year on their wedding anniversary, would give her roses. And also through Christmas, they got married in December. And she was just like, oh my God, he's going to get me roses again. I was at her house right before Christmas. She's like, just watch, he's just going to buy me a dozen red roses again. She's like, oh my God, I hate roses so much. Why does he not know that? Like, I've mentioned it and he's just every year. I'm like, well, they mean that he loves you. She's like, yeah, I know, but there's other ways. And in fact, on her wedding day, because roses were so hard to come by, she gave everybody a rose quartz and asked people to put their blessings and imbue the rose quartz with blessings and wishes for the happy couple. And then she put them in a bowl, a glass see-through bowl, and put that on her mantle above her fireplace in her home, so that every day she could see the wishes that her wedding guests wanted to give them. I thought that was a very sweet and very romantic way of having your roses forever. Roses in December would be your roses, your rose quartzes. And I thought that was very sweet. But it's funny that she didn't like roses. Neither one, my adopted mom and my birth mom, neither one of them liked roses. I love roses, but I thought that was very strange. My love of roses come from my father, who loved roses, and my grandfather grew roses. So I grew up around roses, and I love the smell, and they're the highest vibrational flower. But getting back to carnations, this is a very interesting one. Now, a pink carnation symbolizes the love of mother or the love of a woman. And my mother's favorite were pink carnations. I sent her pink and white carnations quite a bit. Now, a purple carnation can symbolize capriciousness. Is it any wonder that we don't see purple carnations very often? A yellow carnation can symbolize disdain, rejection, and disappointment. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. Don't ever send me yellow carnations or purple. Now, a white carnation does symbolize innocence and pure love. So high vibrational love. Now, a striped carnation can convey refusal. So if you send striped carnations to somebody that loves you, that would be a secret way of saying, I don't feel the same way at all about you. I reject and refuse your love. But hey, thank you for having the thought. Thank you for playing our game with us, and your parting gifts will be out the door near the curb, buddy. Again, don't send me striped carnations ever. Okay, chrysanthemums, or if you've ever watched Three's Company, you've heard them be called chrysanthemums in a super cheesy episode where this guy was trying to impress Chrissy, and so he called them chrysanthemums. It wasn't entirely a bad thing because chrysanthemums symbolize fidelity. Well, that's good. Faithfulness is always good. And it symbolizes optimism, joy, and long life. But what do the colors mean? A red chrysanthemum conveys love. A white chrysanthemum symbolizes truth and loyal love. Ooh, but a yellow chrysanthemum symbolizes slighted love. Ooh, no one wants to be slighted. So, let's just stay away from the yellow flowers, sending of yellow flowers, unless it's a frenemy. If you just want to get under someone's skin, provided they've got the secret code of flowers. Yeah, I don't like the yellow flowers. Just, don't send me that. Now, a daffodil symbolizes regard and chivalry. Interesting, right? Now, daffodils tend to be yellow, but they can also be white. It doesn't say the colors here. Now, a daffodil is indicative of rebirth, new beginnings, and eternal life. And I think that's because even after the snow has come and covered up the daffodils, they will come back the following spring. I think they're a bulb plant. Daffodils are really beautiful. Daffodils in the snow is particularly symbolic, especially in the Midwest. It's a symbol of hope. So what it says here, now daffodil symbolizes regard and chivalry, rebirth, new beginnings, and eternal life, but it also symbolizes unrequited love. So, I don't know, if you send them to someone, does that mean that you don't love them? They love you and you don't love them? Maybe. A single daffodil foretells a misfortune. Ooh, don't send anyone a single daffodil. While a bunch of daffodils will indicate joy and happiness. So, that could be okay, but if you're my lover, don't send me that. Just send it to your friend, though, in bunches. Bunches and bunches. My mother loved daisies. And the symbol that daisies represent, they stand for innocence and purity, much like lilies, but they have kind of a happier energy, a lot less formal. Now, daisies convey loyal love, and also, I will never tell your secrets. Ooh. Now, Gerbera daisies specifically convey also those things plus cheerfulness. So that's kind of sweet, right? Now we get into delphiniums. These are gorgeous purple flowers, and they stand for, especially the hybrid of delphiniums, symbolize big-heartedness, fun, lightness, and levity. And it also indicates an ardent attachment, someone who's very loyal to you. They have a deep kind of affection and attachment to you, which can be creepy if you if you just send them those striped carnations. Maybe they'll get the message. if you don't feel the same way. But if you do feel the same way, that can be a wonderful thing to receive delphiniums. They're very beautiful. They're kind of a purple conic-shaped flower with itty-bitty little individual flowers to comprise the one bloom. Now, freesias are very nice. Freesias symbolize innocence and thoughtfulness. And I've seen freesias in white as well as yellow and pink, various shades of pink. Freesias can be gorgeous. They have a very distinct scent, but they symbolize innocence and thoughtfulness, so that's lovely. Oh, gardenias are one of my most favorite flowers ever. For me, they're up there with roses. They have a very, very distinctive smell, and it's just heavenly. I mean, it's like a really strong, heady scent, but when I smell gardenias, I am instantly transported to a much higher vibed place. I love gardenias. Gardenias, excuse me, gardenias symbolize purity and sweetness. They indicate secret love, and they convey joy. You know, when I smell gardenias, I absolutely feel joy. I love the scent, and I've even had perfumes that's a single fragrance in one, where just it's like the oil of gardenia. For years, I've loved this smell. They're gorgeous. They grow on these bushes that are readily eaten by deer, by the way. If you live in deer country, I've watched deer just eat all the way through a gardenia plant in a day. Giant gardenia bushes wiped out. I feel like if I ever have a massive garden where there are deer, I would have to plant a lot of extra for the deer because they really like them. And I would rather look at deer sometimes than flowers, but it's kind of irritating to eat all your flowers because it's like, dude, now you're not going to be here near neither of the flowers. So irritating. But very cool. I did not know they mean secret love, purity, and sweetness, and joy. So they tell the receiver the message, you are lovely. So that's awesome. Yeah, send me that one in a bouquet. I would love to receive those. Gerbera flowers, they belong to the daisy family, and they assume the symbolism associated with daisies, the daisy flower. Specifically, gerberas convey cheerfulness. Now, a gerbera is a daisy that has like hundreds of petals versus, let me look at this other, let me count. On this other daisy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. They have about 16 petals, up to 20 petals. Gerbera daisy might have like 100 petals. And they have a very dark, concentrated center that's black. And whereas daisies tend to have a yellow center, but they are related. I love gerbera daisies too. They're very sweet. And they come in a wide variety of colors. My mom has sent me those too. My mother's, both of them, God rest their souls, they both used to send me flowers. It was wonderful. Gladiolus are flowers that symbolize strength of character, faithfulness, and honor. And also a gladiolus signifies remembrance. So maybe on Memorial Day, people who who've been through war, there might be something to send them. Maybe, a bouquet of gladiolus. Now heather, it says heather lavender. So lavender heathers, I think these are popular in Britain because I've heard a lot of references in Britcoms to heather. We'll make love among the fields of heather. Again, I'm not good with accents, but hey, I'm trying. So heather, lavender, they symbolize admiration, solitude, and beauty, while white heather symbolize protection and wishes coming true. Ooh, I like that. Wishes coming true. That's always a lovely thing. Now, hyacinth, they symbolize playfulness and a sporty attitude, and in its extreme rashness. So maybe Monica Geller, that would be something you'd send that fictional character from Friends, because she was always so sporty and competitiveness, right? And so rash. So hyacinth are for sporty attitude and playfulness, but extreme rashness of the sporty attitude. Crazy. Now, there are colors. Color hyacinth meanings vary. So hyacinths also denote constancy. That's cool. Consistency or constancy. Now, a blue hyacinth stands for constancy. Purple stands for sorrow. See, again with the purple and the sorrow, that you got to be careful with purple flowers. Red or pink symbolize playfulness or play. White hyacinths stand for loveliness. And again with the yellow hyacinths stand for jealousy. Ooh, right? Let's just stay away from yellow flowers when you send them to people. Ugh. Now, hydrangeas. I've seen deers eat hydrangeas as well. Gardenias and hydrangeas. That's what my neighbor used to have before the deer family came in. In one afternoon, she came home and she's like, what the hell happened to my flowers? She was like looking around. There's nothing, not a single leaf on the ground. And she comes over, knocks on her door. Did you see what happened to my flowers? She's all freaked out. I'm all, yeah, the deer family. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, we enjoyed watching them eat your flowers. She's like, oh my God, why don't you shoo them away? I'm like, well, they're deer. What else are they going to eat? She's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, we probably should have shooed them away. In hindsight, looking back, maybe we might have said, hey, deer family, why don't you go up the road? Oh, well. Sorry. Hydrangeas symbolize heartfelt emotions. They also have a very significant scent about them. I like it, but not as much as gardenias. But hydrangeas, they could grow to huge blue, purpley puffballs. But they symbolize not only heartfelt emotions, it can symbolize an expression of gratitude for having been understood. That's very specific. But in the negative sense, hydrangeas symbolize frigidity and heartlessness. Wow, my ex-mother-in-law has these growing all over her front yard. Heartlessness. She's a cold-hearted snake. I'm just sorry. That just came into my head. Sorry. Just heartlessness and frigidity. Wow. She is a little bit not, I wouldn't say heartless, but I don't know. I've had some issues with her over the years where I think she was doing voodoo against me, just to be honest. So heartlessness, that's hilarious that she has a bunch of hydrangeas in front of her house. So, but maybe I did my neighbor a favor, and now having known this, I got rid of her heartlessness energy and frigidity. She did start dating somebody after that, so hey, there's that. All right. Iris. Ooh, okay. Well, this is where purple and yellow actually are positive when it comes to irises. Iris symbolize eloquence. Purple iris is symbolic of wisdom and compliments. My mother did send me these once too, so yay, that's cool. Purple, in this case, is a positive thing. Wisdom and compliments. Blue iris symbolize faith and hope. Yellow irises symbolize passion, while white irises symbolize, again, purity. So that's good. There's not a bad iris in the bunch. I like that. If your name is Iris, that's even better, right? Okay, larkspur. Larkspurs. These are like long, wispy, almost like wildflowers, and they symbolize levity or lightness. Also, they are indicative of fickleness and haughtiness. So you got to be careful with larkspur, right? Someone might take it the wrong way. They might not think lightness. They might think, are you calling me haughty? And I don't mean H-O-T-T-I-E. I mean H-A-U-G-H-T-Y. Why? Now, lilacs symbolize youthful innocence and confidence. White lilacs symbolize humility and innocence. A field lilac symbolizes charity. Oh, that's nice. Goodwill. Cool. While purple lilac, symbolizes first love. Well, that's sweet. That's not at all a bad purple flower, lilacs. Now, lilies, again with the lilies, a different kind of lily now, symbolize purity and refined beauty. A white lily can symbolize modesty and virginity. Again, white lilies, not the calla lilies, but the other brand of lilies in white would be good for a wedding. Modesty, virginity. It might be an ironic flower in some cases. But for some people, that might actually be appropriate. Orange lilies symbolize passion. Yellow lilies symbolize gaiety. Lily of the valley, which incidentally one of my favorite scents, but also very poisonous. Very poisonous. When they discovered that, they stopped using them in perfume. Lily of the valley symbolizes sweetness and purity of heart. And of course, the Easter lily is the symbol, the official symbol, the official flower of the Virgin Mary. So lily of the valley, sweetness and purity of heart, but in perfume will kill you over time. It's so sad. Oh, it's one of my most favorite scents too. And I've gotten, they do have a manufactured lily of the valley scent that you can put in perfumes if you're making perfumery. You know, if you're a perfumer, I've done perfumery in my life and I love it. I usually use essential oils though. I like the stuff that comes directly from the flowers, but lily of the valley you can only get in a chemical form because of the poison. It's kind of crazy, right? Okay, orchids. These are exotic flowers. They do grow just randomly. They attach themselves to trees. They're like a parasitic flower in some cases. Here in Ecuador, in the jungle, they just grow on the sides of other trees. Very weird, right? Not all of them, but sometimes it happens. Now, orchid is a symbol of exotic beauty. It symbolizes refinement, thoughtfulness, and mature charm. It also symbolizes proud and glorious femininity. So not at all a bad flower to receive, right? Maybe it's something you would send to someone who is a feminist, but also very feminine, possibly. All right, peonies. Oh, I love peonies. They're so cute. Also very expensive, but they're beautiful. Peonies, I think they grow on trees. Peonies symbolize bashfulness and compassion. It can also be used to express indignation or shame. Ooh, be careful who you send it to. But peonies also symbolize a happy life, happy marriage, good health, and prosperity. Well, that explains exactly why Blair, the fictional character in Gossip Girl, wanted peonies at her wedding. It was her favorite flower. So very cool. She was not bashful or compassionate, so that's maybe an ironic part. But the marriage, happy life, happy marriage, good health, and prosperity, that does explain it, right? Protea, King Protea, I don't even know this flower. It's very odd looking. It looks like a pinkish white breast in a crown of fire when I look at it. King Protea stands for change and transformation. It signifies daring and resourcefulness. It is a symbolic representation of diversity and courage. What a strange thing. I've never ever seen this in my life. Now, the next one I have seen, and I love these two. Now, Queen Anne's lace. They're very delicate white flowers. They symbolize a haven or sanctuary. It signifies complexity and delicateness. Very cool. Now, the next one, these are really cute flowers. Ranunculus. Ranunculus symbolizes radiant charm. It conveys a message that you are radiant with charm or that you are attractive. Is that the sender or the sendee? Wait, the sendee, that'd be the recipient, sorry. So I guess if someone sends that to you, that means that you yourself, you are radiant with charm and attractive. So it sounds like a come-on flower to me, ranunculus. All right. Roses, as you know, symbolize love. The essential oil from roses, by the way, has the highest vibration of any other oil. It's like 4,000 hertz frequency. So it's a very high vibe flower. It signifies love in various forms, and the symbolism, well, it's based on variety, number of roses, and color. If we have a little bit of time, we'll come back to that. We might have to do it on another day, though. Snapdragons. Oh, these are really cute. I always like the name, too. Snapdragons are so adorable. They symbolize graciousness and strength, but negative connotations can include presumption and deception. So, be a little bit leery about sending people snapdragons. Status is symbolic of remembrance. This is a purple one, and it also can mean sympathy and success. So I think if that would be appropriate to send to a funeral. Status, you have to look it up, Statice, or statice maybe. These are purple flowers that would be good to send to a funeral, but you got to make sure you get the right thing, right? Now, stock, I've never even heard of this one. This is another purple flower. It's more of a light reddish purple. Symbolizes happy life and lasting beauty. Not at all good for a funeral. It's indicative of bonds of affection, and it's symbolic of promptness. Oh, good. So someone's going to be on time. You could send that one to me. If you're romantic with me, that would be a good one, right? Sunflowers signify pure thoughts. I think sunflowers have a high vibe. They follow the sun. They are incredible flowers. I think they might have a higher level of intelligence to them. All right, so they signify pure thoughts, adoration, and dedication. And it's also symbolic of dedicated love. But also, it can be symbolic of haughtiness, Haughtiness. So just be a little careful with that. Sweet peas. Oh, they're so cute. I like sweet peas. Sweet peas indicate delicate pleasure and bliss. Sweet peas are symbolic of departure after you've had a good time with someone. Ooh, all right. Well, the day after, if you get those, then the other person had a good time. Interesting. Tulips signify a declaration of love. And they symbolize fame and perfect love. Oh, well, definitely send me tulips. That's awesome. Okay, now we're going to go back up to the roses. We have a little bit of time here. We're going to look at rose flower meanings because this could be very important. Okay. Red roses, as you know, unmistakable expression of love, deep emotion. They can also be used to convey not only love, longing, and desire, but respect, admiration, and devotion. A deep red rose can be used to convey heartfelt regret and sorrow. Now, I think it's important, though, that if you have to apologize to someone, don't just send flowers. Apologize to them on one day. Send them flowers the next day. Because otherwise, getting apology flowers and not an apology, it's just, to me, it's in bad form. It's bad taste. So, okay, A deep red rose can be used to convey the heartfelt regret and sorrow. But the number of red roses that you send have special romantic meanings associated. 12 red roses says, "Be mine and I love you." So that's interesting, right? White roses, that's purity, chastity, and innocence. White flowers generally are associated with new beginnings, and they're an ideal accompaniment for a first-time bride walking down the aisle. White flowers can be used to convey sympathy or humility. So that would be okay. White roses for a funeral would be okay. They indicate spirituality as well. So there you go. Yellow roses express exuberance, sunny feelings of warmth, joy, and welcoming. So they are a symbol of friendship and caring. So they do not carry an undertone of romance. So it's appropriate if you want to send yellow roses to somebody that you are platonic with, or just like normal friendship, right? That doesn't include nudity. All right. Pink roses convey admiration, joy, and gratitude. But light pink is sweetness and innocence. Deep pink convey gratitude and appreciation. Pink roses also connote elegance and grace. Orange roses. Now, while a yellow rose reminds us of the sun, an orange rose is like a fiery blaze, and it can signify passion and energy. Orange roses can be used to express intense desire as well as pride and fervor for somebody. Ooh, all right. They also convey a sense of fascination, and they only rival red roses as messengers of passion in romance. Lavender roses, just like the color, conveys enchantment. It can express love at first sight. Lavender, wow. Wow. All right, that's pretty cool. Now, darker shades of lavender roses are more close to purple, convey a sense of regal majesty and splendor. These roses are used to express adoration as well as fascination. So they're kind of like a mystical love, right? So it seems like to me. Blue roses blue rose is still elusive, like a perfectly black rose. So blue roses, they're not achieved naturally, and they represent the unattainable or mysterious. Blue roses therefore embody the desire for the unattainable. They say, "I can't have you, but oh, I cannot stop thinking about you." That means you are unattainable to me, but you're on my mind. Green roses, this is interesting. I always think of green roses as they're not quite ripe yet. They're like the color of unripened fruit. Green roses are the color of harmony, opulence, and fertility. It's a color indicative of peace and tranquility. Ironic, we get a motorcycle in the background right when I said peace. Green roses are basically off-white roses with shades of green. They symbolize best wishes for a prosperous new life, or wishes for you to recover back to good health. Black roses. Ooh. Black roses are the symbol of death and farewell. A black rose, like a blue rose, does remain elusive. What we know as black roses are really very, very, very dark red roses. Black roses convey the death of a feeling or an idea, probably as well as a person. But I think it'd be kind of in poor taste to send black roses to a funeral. I'm just saying, if you send black roses to someone, it indicates the death of the relationship. Well, one time, I'm not going to go into the whole detail, but one time I was friends with somebody. She was my hairdresser, and we started dating each other, and she was extremely beautiful. And then I found out she had a boyfriend. And one day, I come home to a really strange mixtape on my shelf, cocaine poured in my bed, and then the next day there was black roses in my driveway. I had no idea what the hell was going on there. I found out later, she called me about a month later because she moved to another state, and she said her boyfriend had gone crazy and thought that she and I were a couple, which we just kind of secretly, clandestinely saw each other for a little bit. Well, I'm thinking he put all of their favorite songs on a mixtape, broke into my apartment while I was at school, wanted to get me high or in trouble or maybe kill me by pouring the drug in my bed. I was like, what the hell is that? I went and just washed my sheets again. Found out later it was coke. I realized what it was later. I was like, I know this smell. What is this? I hadn't done cocaine yet in my life, so I was like, and then I tasted it a little bit, like, what is that? Oh, yeah, I knew it was coke, but that was creepy. So I threw it in the washer, washed it right away. And then I saw the black roses in the driveway. I'm like, what the hell is this? Right? Like, I wasn't dating anybody. I was so confused. I hadn't seen her in a month. And she's like, oh, well, he thought that you and that I left him for you. He must have thought we were living together. Oh, my God. Well, no. Weird. Totally weird. And some other horrible things happened to him later, but it was, well, we're not going to get into it. He ended up in jail for murder that he didn't commit, but everyone believed he did. And he was in the Muslim community in the Shia, the Persians. It was very sad. If you were from California, you know what I mean. It was a very sad situation I'm not getting into. But, and God bless him. I know he didn't do it either, but it was weird. It's like years later, I meet my husband, my second husband, and he was a prison guard and knew him. And he said he used to taunt him and torture him for what he did. And I said, no, I knew him personally. He didn't do it. Someone did it and framed him for murder. Horrible situation. Anyway, not going to get into more. Okay, mixed roses. What do they mean? Mixed roses. So yeah, black roses. Don't ever send me black roses. Ugh. Just break up with me in person, you know? Don't, the black roses give me the chills. Mixed roses. By sending a mixed message, mixing rose blooms of different colors purposely creates a bouquet of emotions. So if it's white and red roses together, means I love you intensely, but my intentions with you are honorable. Now, a random mix of roses would convey the mixed feelings or send a message of, I don't know what my feelings are for you yet, but I do like you. Enough at least to send you roses. So, let's see. There's other things here. If you want to see more like Christmas roses, that means relieve my anxiety. A burgundy rose is unconscious beauty. Hibiscus rose is delicate beauty. You send someone a leafy rose, it means you might have hope. Go ahead and have hope. Thornless roses are love at first sight and early attachment. Moss rosebud is confession of love. Tea roses, I will remember you always. I love tea roses, the little tiny roses. They're so cute. Let's see. A dog rose means pleasure and pain. Ooh, weird. Well, I guess if you're into S&M, that's a perfect rose to send to your loved one who's also into S&M. Dog roses. Damask rose. Ugh, they're so beautiful. Their scent is amazing. Means Persian ambassador of love and freshness. A garden rose means I am from Mars. What? Weird. Rose of Sharon means consumed by love. A carmine rose means deceitful desire. So send that to someone who's married you want to do it with. I'm just kidding. Don't just ignore the carmine roses, okay? Cardinal red rose means sublime desire. An amaranth red rose means long-standing desire. A wild rose means simplicity. A musk rose means capricious beauty. And a rosa mundi means variety. Maybe don't send me a musk rose or a Rosamundi. So, single roses. A single red rose says, I love you. A single white rose means my feelings are pure. A single yellow rose means you bring joy to my life. Let's be friends. A single pink rose says, I like you. A single orange rose says, I am proud of you. A single peach-colored rose means, thank you and I sympathize with you. A single lavender rose means, I am enchanted by you. A single blue rose says, you seem like an unattainable dream. A crown of roses indicates a reward of virtue. A bouquet of roses in full bloom indicates gratitude. A rose in a tuft of grass indicates there is everything to be gained by good company. A number symbolism. Let's see if it does it say it. All right, it doesn't really say. Okay, it kind of does. Okay, so you are the one for me and I love you is signified by one red rose. 3 red roses together, you and me and our love for company. If there's 6 red roses, it means I'm halfway in love with you. Not full in yet. 12 red roses means be mine. 50 red roses means my love for you is limitless. 24 roses means I am yours. That's 25 red roses traditionally mean congratulations. So you can creatively enliven a message by substituting another color though. 25 other roses of a different color. You can get creative with it. So if you accept a rose with your right hand, it conveys that you are in agreement with the other person and your affirmation. So I agree with you and I affirm what you're saying to me. Like if you love them back, accept it with your right. But if you accept it with your left hand, it means you disagree. That maybe you don't believe they love you or you just don't love them back, right? This stuff is like hilarious to me. It's overwhelmingly hilarious to me. Now, apology flowers. Let's see if we could get through these. If you apologize to someone and then send flowers the next day, for business, traditionally send tulips or hyacinths or daffodils or any traditional spring flower. That will basically say in groups of flowers, it's just fresh colors. It means, look, I'm sorry, let's start over. It's good for colleagues, partners, or even customers if you've screwed up. Lilies are more of an apology flower for a personal situation, and it depends on the color, but you should go with pastels, lighter tones, or even white lilies. Calla lilies that are white, it's an apology that you direct towards a girlfriend or a wife, but only because of their inherent beauty. Now, in business, it's not a frilly flower, so it's more like, I am serious about business with you, I'm sorry. And it says if you want to pick a color lily that's colorful, white or darker tones are better. And it's also better for men to send dark calla lilies as an apology, especially if you're man sending a man flowers. That's more of a symbolic of I'm sorry. You know, it's not, might feel a little strange in business, but it's not terrible, right, to send that. Orchids, for personal situation, any color is appropriate. The exotic nature of the flower is showing you that you're taking the matter seriously and you're not going to forget what you did. Probably because they're also expensive. They symbolize strength and virility, and they're one of the best apology flowers for men, I think, to send to men. All right. I had to change. I don't know if you heard the beeping. It's ideal for business situations because they're exotic beauty and they're architectural in their structure. And so it's a highly coveted flower, orchids. So choose solid colors, white or very dark tones, and also a plant with it, as opposed to a bouquet, will show that you are very sorry in a situation. Now, since roses are the flower of love, as an apology, different colors have different meanings, as we just discussed, okay? We already know those colors. They're not appropriate in a business situation. So for an apology, do not send roses to a business situation. That's best kept at home. You know, as they say, opposite sexes, it doesn't matter, you know, cisgendered, hetero, it doesn't, you know, don't even pay attention to that crap. So, all right, Gerbera daisies. If the apology is something that's not too serious, like you did not screw up big time, just a little bit of a faux pas, like, oops, oh God, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to say that, or I didn't know it was going to affect you in that way. Gerbera daisies would be like kind of a, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't even realize, right? But if you did something really messed up, don't send Gerbera daisies. So it says, if you just want to make someone feel better about your screwing up a date or something, that would be a good way to do it. Just pick their favorite colors or create a rainbow of colors, because that will just cheer them up. You didn't mean to, you know, pee yourself in public, or I don't know what you do. You didn't mean to trip over something in a restaurant, catch their mother's hair on fire. Oopsie. I don't know. But the Gerbera daisies, it's for something that was just like a oops or an accident, or maybe embarrassing someone in public, or, you know, something is not, you know, if you really royally screw up, like you forget a date or you don't show up, or, you know, then don't go with the daisies. But if you embarrass them, maybe that would be a good apology flower. All right, well, that's all I've got to say about flowers today. Do not forget to send me your ghost stories, your spirit stories, because it's coming up really rapidly. We've got like 8 days left before we're going to do Metaphysical Ghost Speak. And so please send in your spirit stories, spooky times, anything that's related to a Halloween situation. All Hallows Eve is coming up. You're not going to want to miss that episode. I've already gotten a few stories, so I need yours, though. All right. Well, thank you for being on the Ascension journey with me. We are anchored fully in now, 100%. I'm glad we did it, and we're going to continue to raise our vibrations together and inspire each other. I wanted to thank each and every one of you that have contacted me lately. It's too many to mention, but I wanted to say thank you for favoriting my podcast and sending me messages. And, well, that's all. That's all I got to say about that. I'm going to go now, signing off with peace and joy and the high vibration of roses and the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys, peace out. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available, or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.